What's going on? What's going on? We are back, man. Hey, man, I said it before and I'll say it again. The next couple of months are going to be crazy when it comes to the sport of boxing. Um, just found out that Canelo Alvarez just filed a lawsuit against Dzon and also against Golden Boy Promotions. Basically, he is filing for a breach of contract, just due to the fact that DAZN is not willing to pay him the amount of money that they said they were going to pay him, and also suing Golden Boy because they're basically saying that they haven't lived up to what they're supposed to be doing, as far as his promotional team, I guess. So he got everybody up in those papers. He's done. He's trying to get out of that contract. He's suing for damages. Up to $280 million. I think that's what he's suing for right now. So I knew it could possibly come to this, and I guess we are here. One of my previous videos, I was talking about Oscar De La Hoya and how, there's a possible, there actually is a real possibility that he might come back and he might actually fight just due to the fact that if Canelo's not fighting, and they get most of their revenue from the Canelo fights, what exactly are they going to do? And he's a survivalist. He's going to do what he needs to do to survive. So if he has to come back and get into shape and make sacrifices, he's going to do it in order to get into the ring, get knocked out, and get 30, 40 M's or more. If he can. That's just the way he is. And it looks like this is the situation. Canelo is not fighting for a while, it's going to look like. Unless they can come out with some kind of deal, maybe some kind of, a situation where they give like Canelo $100 million and they pretty much watch the situation and Canelo can go fight wherever he wants to fight. Maybe a situation like that, because I think DAZN is trying to get out of this contract. I don't think that, they want to get out of this contract. They know they made a bad investment when they made this deal. And they're trying to force him into some, I guess a particular fight with Gennady Golovkin. Why? I don't know. It's not a big fight. Saying that Canelo hasn't, they said that Canelo hasn't, brought in the premium fights, that they agreed to. He's supposed to have one regular fight a year, and then he's supposed to have a premium fight. But then the question becomes, what exactly is a premium fight, though? Because now they want him to take a pay cut, but then you want him to fight the likes of Smith, for that particular money, who's a champion. Which somebody could look at that and say, no, that's a premium fighter, just due to the fact that he is a champion. Or Billy Joe Saunders, who's also a champion. They might say that's a premium. One person might say that's a premium fighter because who exactly is a premium fighter? Now, people might say something like, oh, well, Charlo or Benavidez or Caleb Plant. Those will be big fights. Yeah, but they don't work with DAZN. They're not fighting on DAZN. They're fighting on PBC. And not only that, DAZN has tried to get these guys to come do other fights on PBC and these other fights on DAZN and haven't been able to do so. They haven't been able to get Caleb Plant. They haven't been able to get Benavidez. They haven't been able to get any Charlo. They haven't been able to get any of these guys to come over there. So what exactly would that with people who are out there? What exactly is a premium fight? Gennady Golovkin, that's a premium fight. What viewership did Gennady Golovkin versus Derevyanchenko do? I don't think that was a very highly viewed fight. What was the gate for that fight? So when you have to pull out the numbers, to show what this guy's exactly been doing, you know what I mean? And what you're gonna say that he was a premium fighter due to what he did on HBO? HBO is gonna release the numbers for those particular fights, not what's been put out in the media, but what's actually the numbers that were actually done. Are they going to just release that information? And open themselves up to stuff by getting involved in that litigation? You know what I mean? So, Canelo has a good case, because somebody might say, no, like, what's exactly his premium? These particular champions that you have on your network, he was willing to fight them. Just you couldn't give those particular people the money that was necessary in order for them to say yes and fight. And then you can't blame him for that. Then he was trying to go fight for a championship belt, and you guys said, no, we're not going to pay for that either. So he might have a good case, because a few, things are coming out now. Before I didn't really like to speak out, kind of talk about certain things, but I kind of keep it vague and I make it very clear that we don't know what's, actually in those particular contracts, but it seems, so we don't know exactly, what the zone can do or, what Canelo can or can't do because we don't know the particulars, for the little information that seems to come out, it seems as if there was nothing set up where it's saying, hey, you had to fight these guys, you had to fight Golovkin, you had to fight, this particular person. It was a situation where I guess both Canelo Alvarez, I guess the Zone and Golden Boy all had to agree on a particular fight, I guess. Which there were certain fighters that the Zone agreed with them, but they said, nah, yeah, we'll do this fight, but we're still only gonna pay you half. And you might have something set up for, I don't know. It's just gonna be interesting, It's gonna be interesting when it comes to these two. Is Canelo gonna fight? That's one of the questions that people, want to know. I don't think so necessarily, but sometimes, maybe the courts will put some kind of injunction or set something up allowing Canelo Alvarez to go and fight somewhere else while litigation is going on. Maybe, because people try to compare it to the Chavez Jr. situation, but with the Chavez Jr. situation, Chavez Jr. wasn't having an argument or a dispute with his promoter. He was having an argument, dispute with the Nevada Commission, State Commission. So him and his promoter were still on board. So they were able to still go and fight because it didn't hurt either one of those parties in any way. And then Nevada, at the end of the day, was still going to be able to, once everything was done, be able to put whatever suspension or whatever it is. In this type of situation, I look at this situation more like a Andre Ward, versus I believe it was Goosen promotion, wherever promotion is with, that type of situation. I look at this more of a Mikey Garcia versus Top Rank, Jesse Vargas versus Top Rank. I look at it more of like that type of situation, where, where basically they weren't able to fight, and I don't believe that they're gonna allow him to go fight for another entity, because if he goes and he loses or something of that nature, it would hurt the Zone, the person who signed him to that major contract deal. So I don't think it's gonna be a situation like that. I think it's gonna have to sit out, whether it's gonna be a year, 6 months, a year. I think it's gonna depend, but I think it might be one of those situations where he might be able to work something out where he just, gets like $100 million or something like that and walks away. But I think it's a situation where he's trying to not only walk away from the Zone, he's trying to walk away from Golden Boy. And if he walks away from Golden Boy, it's gonna hurt him. Oscar De La Hoya is gonna have to come back for a match. And then a huge portion of where you get your finances, over 90%, will now be gone. And then the money that the side deal that you set up with the Zone, they're doing cuts on that too. So are you now going to try to sue the Zone as well, where everything might be put on pause when it comes to all your fighters, and you have nowhere else to go except your Facebook page and YouTube to show your fights? Are you going to do that type of thing? There's a lot of questions. The Zone's also doing a lot of layoffs. It just did a bunch of layoffs again in the United States and in Brazil when it comes to the marketing departments. It's getting ugly out there, but I'll say that a whole bunch of times the last couple of weeks, but next couple of weeks, I guess next couple of months, we'll see what goes on with this situation as well. But Canelo ain't playing no more games. And yet, it looks like he might have a case. So we'll see what happens as far as this litigation is concerned. But for now, like, subscribe, share, and I'm out. So much for Al Heyman being the devil, huh? Interesting how things turn out.